Minasan, konnichiwa. Today I'd like to share a topic with you about loneliness. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you if there's any information here that is of value that can help someone that's going through a loneliness stage, and that we might be able to assist. If you would please share this video with them to get the word of Jesus Christ out and see lives changed. A few weeks ago, I went to my first professional Japanese baseball game. The game was between the Hanshin Tigers and the Hiroshima Carp. A Japanese baseball game is completely different than an American baseball game. The fans are more involved in the game. They're chanting, they're singing, they're having a great time, and actually they're even drinking a lot more beer. The Hanshin Tigers won the game 1-0. They scored the winning run in the bottom of the ninth. The crowd went wild as their winning score crossed the home plate, and the Tigers charged the field and surrounded the player that had hit the winning run. There were about 50,000 people there that day at the game, and they were all going crazy. It was strange at that moment. I felt like I was all alone, not caring who won the game or who lost the game, but being aware of what was going on. I sat there watching everyone's reaction to the win. It was a feeling that I haven't had in a long time, feeling all alone, surrounded by so many people. I've learned while living in Japan that I'm a man without a country. Janet and I have a Japanese friend, but whenever she introduces me, she says, "This is Mochizuki-san. He looks Japanese. He knows how to use chopsticks. He eats sushi, but he doesn't speak Japanese." In other words, he looks and even acts like a Japanese, but he's not a Japanese. In her mind, I'm not an American because I don't feel the image that she has in America. I fit many of the characteristics of a Japanese, but there's is one thing that I will always disqualify myself from being a Japanese, and that's not being able to speak the language fluently. A pastor friend once told me that making friends in Japan is very difficult, but once you have a friend, you have a friend for life. Making friends here in Japan is probably the most difficult and frustrating thing to do, especially if you're a gaikokujin or a foreigner. Everybody wants a friend, but here in Japan, learning to trust someone to share your life seems almost impossible. Japanese would rather hide who they are than risk being bullied and kicked out of a group. Being a Confucius society, being part of a group is essential to life in Japan. For the Japanese to have appointed a minister of loneliness is enough proof of what the problem of loneliness is here in Japan. Japanese have friends that they have been friends with since childhood. Japanese friends become friends and remain friends before the pressure of tatamae and hone has taken over their lives. Are you a person that feels all alone in a crowd of people? Are you the person that has no one to talk to? Are you the person that has no one to share your private thoughts with? Are you a person that thinks death is better than life? If you're that person, I want to tell you about someone that wants to be your friend. This person will be closer than a brother or family member. He'll be someone that will always be there for you. There's a story in the Bible about a woman named Hagar. She was a maidservant to a woman named Sarai, and who was the wife of a man named Abram. In this story, Sarah, the wife, couldn't conceive a child. It was their custom that Sarai was allowed to give her maidservant Hagar to her husband Abram so that they could conceive a child. When the child was born, the child would become Abram and Sarai's child, not Abram and Hagar's child. When Hagar became pregnant, she started to disrespect Sarai because she was able to become pregnant, but Sarai couldn't. Sarai could no longer tolerate Hagar's disrespect, and Sarai began to mistreat and verbally abuse Hagar and demanded that Hagar be thrown out of the tribe. When Sarai told Hagar to leave, Hagar ran away into the desert. While wandering the desert alone, she didn't know where she was going. All she knew was that she didn't want to be around Sarai any longer. While wandering in the desert, an angel came to her. The angel of the Lord asked Hagar, "What are you doing here in the desert?" And Hagar told the angel of the Lord that she was running away from her mistress Sarai. The angel of the Lord told Hagar that God sees her misery and that she was returned to Hagar and Abram and that she would bear a son. So Hagar gave the Lord the name El Roi, the God who sees me. I share this story to tell you, no matter what you're going through or what you're facing, that there is a God that sees you. He understands your misery, and He's waiting to be your friend. You may feel like you're wandering in the desert all alone. You may feel all alone, even in the city of 18 million people like Osaka or 36 million people like in the city of Tokyo. But I want to tell you that there's a man named Jesus Christ who is waiting with his arms open for you. He's waiting for you to allow him into your life. He's a friend that always will be there for you, no matter what you're going through. He's not just a friend, but he's also your counselor and comforter. He will give you hope. He will give you a purpose, and he will give you a destiny. You don't have to live the life of loneliness like so many Japanese people do. Jesus is waiting right now for you. You ask, how do I know that's true? I was once like you, lonely, wandering with no purpose, thinking death was better than life. I was going to kill myself one day with either an overdose of drugs that I was addicted to or with a bullet from a gun. When I was ready to kill myself, a voice, the same voice that Hagar heard in the wilderness, he asked me the same question he asked Hagar. What are you doing here? That was the moment I asked Jesus to become my friend. Right now, Jesus sees your misery. He knows exactly what you're going through, everything you're feeling. He's asking you the same question. What are you doing here? This is not where you belong. But you ask, how does he know what I'm experiencing? Well, a day over 2,000 years ago, Jesus hung on a cross. He suffered everything that you feel right now. And he died for you so that you could overcome the problems that you have and have eternal life. He's a friend you're looking for. He will always be with you. He will be the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He is true and faithful. His death on the cross and resurrection has taken care of the wall, the harmony. You don't need to or read the air or worry about what you say in public or what you think privately. All you have to do is be you. And he accepts you just as you are. He accepts you as his friend. Just open your heart and ask him in. He's standing at the door of your heart and he's waiting for you to let him in. Let him in and he'll change your life. You don't have to be lonely anymore. You have a friend and his name is Jesus Christ. God bless you.